Question. Question number 10, Eugenie Sage.
Mr Speaker, thank you. My question is to the Minister for the Environment and asks, will she ditch the Government's proposal to remove references to the ethic of stewardship, the maintenance and enhancement of amenity values, the maintenance and enhancement of the quality of the environment and the intrinsic values of ecosystems from the Resource Management Act 1991? If not, why not?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, firstly, it appears the member may not have read the proposals because, in fact, the reference to ecosystems is not only proposed to be retained but, in fact, elevated, with the clause clarified to state that the effective functioning of ecosystems be raised to be a matter of national importance. On the other matters the member raises, the Government has indicated that it is our view that those matters are already adequately provided for in Part 2 of the Act, and this remains our position.
Supplementary question, Eugenie Sage.
Was Honourable Tariana Turia wrong when she said the Resource Management Act was designed to ensure that our use of natural resources is sustainable and that the Government's proposed changes to Part 2 undermine the whole purpose of the Act?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Minister Turia was certainly correct in her statement of the purpose of the Act, and the Government has no intention and never has had of amending the purpose of the Act. In respect to her characterisation of our changes, she is of course entitled to her opinion.
Supplementary question, Eugenie Sage.
Was Honourable Peter Dunn wrong when he said that the Government's proposed changes to the RMA will make matters worse for the environment?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, again, Mr Dunn is certainly entitled to his opinion.
Order. Supplementary question. Order. Supplementary question, Eugenie Sage.
Will her proposed RMA amendment bill now retain the hierarchy of matters of national importance and other matters in the current Act to avoid creating considerable uncertainty and losing 20 years of case law on the meaning of sustainable management?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, every time this Parliament creates or changes law, it always creates a period of time where people have to adjust to those new provisions. If we were going to not do anything on the basis that any change would create uncertainty, then we might as well all pack up and go home now. Our proposal is about creating far more certainty in the system over time, and it would be wrong and foolhardy to pull out one aspect of the proposals and focus on whether that single aspect of change creates more or more uncertainty. The proposal is a package. The objective of the package is to create more certainty, less time, less cost, and far better outcomes for communities, and that is still the intention.
Supplementary question to Ururoa, Flavell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, what advice has she had from iwi and Māori groups regarding the maintenance and enhancement of the quality of the environment and any effects the proposed changes will have on their role as kaitiaki or guardians?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Mr Speaker, we certainly had considerable feedback from iwi and Māori groups on the changes to Section 6 and 7, and as a result of that feedback we have made a number of changes to the draft provisions. Kaitiaki-tanga is of course to be elevated from a matter that the decision makers must have regard to becoming a matter of national importance, which must be recognised and provided for. And of course the role of iwi in planning is one of the key ways in which iwi exercise their role as kaitiaki, and those provisions around planning and iwi involvement in it receive considerable support from iwi and Māori groups.
Supplementary question, Honourable Peter Dunn.
Mr Speaker, is it the Minister's position that the changes to Part 2 of the Act are necessary for the process changes that she's proposing to other parts of the Act to have any impact? In other words, that you can't make the second set of changes without making the first set?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, it's certainly my view that the proposal is a package and has to be viewed as such, and Part 2 is a critical part of the Act, and that is the reason it has attracted so much attention and debate, because it is fundamental to the way the whole of the rest of the Act is read and applied.
Question number 11, Right Honourable